Thank you very much. And once again, welcome to this webinar session. So today, my colleague is Chandra Vish. She'll be helping me through the presentation. And my name is George Ominde. I will be your lead speaker today. So as we all know, the topic of the day is the unstoppable rise of the LMS in post-pandemic. So we'll be looking at how the LMS have actually been able to rise to the unprecedented levels that it is today. And we'll be seeing why and some of the challenges that it has actually been able to resolve. So as we all know, even before we delve deeper into the discussion, we know that right before the pandemic, the LMS has been there. And before the pandemic, we were also having different technologies to be able, that were being used to learn. But what we all know now is that before the pandemic, there was a low uptake for the LMS usage in the institutions of higher learning and even in businesses. Then there was also slower development in terms of the developing organization, that is the software organization. There was a rather low kind of investment to be able to produce this kind of technologies for learning purposes. So other tools as well linked to the LMS. There was advancement, but the speed at which the advancements were being brought forth were actually low. So when you compare that to during the pandemic, then you would see that there has been a sharp rise in all aspects, both in terms of the institutional uptake, the technology firms, as well as other complementary tools that have been plugged into LMS to make it better. And now in post-pandemic, we are now even seeing a more dedicated kind of a pattern whereby we are consistently now using the technologies to be able to move the learning space forward. So first, we want to look at the overview of the LMS market. So with the LMS, we are talking about learning management systems. So from what information that we've gathered from different institutions, different research papers, we have seen that the market is set to grow by 2025 to anything upwards of 25 billion. And that is when you look at the compound annual growth rate of about 20%, that is from 2020. So the COVID scenario actually accelerated growth when it comes to LMS in different aspects, and more institutions, whether it's business, whether it's learning institutions, whether it's the small, medium enterprise operations, they have actually been able to have a different look into how they now view the LMS. So now I want to quickly go through the challenges that were faced by the education sector during the pandemic. So you'd find that during the pandemic, learning was normal. Face-to-face was the formed, I think 98% of the learning, if you compound everything. And e-learning or digital learning just formed a smaller, very small percentage of it. And then even with regards to the bias that we had, the users, you could ask them, if you were to ask them about, do we study fully online, or do we go blended, or do we go face-to-face? Then most of the people, especially in Africa, they would prefer the face-to-face, because that was the only type, or the only model that was seen as a hands-on kind of learning that would give you the right knowledge to be able to fit into the different career paths. But now, during the pandemic, now that face-to-face, the norm was actually disrupted. So there had to be innovative ways to be able to have learning go on whereas we still maintain the quality that we always yearn for. So in that era, we faced different challenges. For example, the first one, there were delays in course completion. So there were delays because the movements, remember the restrictions that were always in place, how you even interact. So those kind of interruptions actually delayed the courses, and people kept pushing forward their studies so that they hope that the COVID would be soon over and then they would be resuming normally, be able to continue. So that one was disrupted. Then we also had no proper assessments. So assessments were within the four walls. So looking at it in a way that you would have online assessments, people are not prepared for it, especially from the institutional side, but not only from the institutional side, even from the regulator side. Most institutions did not have the policies that was regarding online assessment. So there was a very big disruption when it came to assessments or examinations. And then the faculty lacked technical support. So you see, with during COVID, what happened is that there was a shift. Now people are looking at different ways to be able to manage learning. And then when that happens, then it means you need to have the expertise. So the expertise that was there was not consumer to the needs at that particular time, because you see, you understand that when there is a rapid shift, which is not planned for, then you also need to it's like a crash course. You have everybody coming together to work towards a certain goal. So the training had to happen for these faculty members, people who were not who do not know how to use this technology. So this kind of trainings and all this, and then you'll find that the technical support that was being provided was not sufficient to be able to get them going on day one. Then, of course, the inefficiency of the virtual classroom. This is largely due to the infrastructure. The infrastructure was not obviously not up to date in most institutions, and then this kind of tools, which were to be used, could not be used properly. Then, of course, the decreasing number of students, which is obvious. There was a drop down in the level of engagement, because when you're used face to face, and then when now you go online, you want to replicate that, but then there is always that personal touch that is missing. Then, of course, lack of personalization, you could not be able to person. So these are some of the challenges and many more that were faced in the education space during the pandemic. And now we want to now look at how the LMS actually resolved the learning challenges in the pandemic and even post-pandemic. So look, in the learning space, we have different activities. They are from registrations, for the student journey, from registrations to the actual learning, where you have the learning activities, content itself, assessments. Then after that, there's a graduation, and then upon completion, you have the alumni bit. So during the post-pandemic, we have seen that the learning activities have actually been incorporated, and they have actually been improved, such that now you have unlimited activity. So anything that you could have done in the face-to-face scenario, you can actually now be able to do it within the LMS space using the different functionalities that have been given. So these learning activities will be able to help the users or the students learn as they continue with their learning dream. And there is activity, the interactivity of learning. So the LMS providers have interactive learning concepts that allows the users, the trainers, or even the lecturers to be able to create interactive content in different formats. So, for example, you'd find that the technologies have more than 50 plus formats in which you can actually be able to author your content. So you could use interactive videos, could be interactive books, it could be interactive presentations, it could be accordions, could be any other in kind of interactive content whereby you are able to make the content as interactive as possible so that you are able to actually deliver the information that you aspire to deliver as a trainer. Then, of course, you have remote learning. So right now, people can actually be able to learn remotely, live alone, work remotely. So people who are in far-flung areas can actually be able to uh, join classrooms wherever they are, and they are able to just learn using the virtual tools that are integrated within the learning management systems and be able to harness the interactive content and be able to collaborate and you know, do everything, including the assessments wherever they are. Then, of course, there is also the fast mobile fast learning. Many learning management systems have mobile applications, and these mobile applications actually give them the opportunity to be able to access content offline. So, as we all know, when you have LMS, you can always access it on the web. But the beauty is that when you am I audible?
Yeah, George, you are audible now.
Yeah, my lights went off. Sorry about that. So now, you because people have their mobile phones, and you could tell that everybody, a larger percentage, have their mobile phones always on their palms. Uh, the access of learning content as a mobile application actually widens the scope so that users are actually be able to learn wherever they are, and they are able to learn on the go. Then, of course, the learning parts. So using the LMS now, institutions or the trainers are actually able to create learning paths using the frameworks that are provided to be able to make sure that certain skills are actually learned as they progress. Then, of course, with the LMS technology, you are able to learn continuously because content is always within the platform, and there is that opportunity of self uh, learning where you can actually be able to learn at your own pace, at your own time, and to be able to continuously learn as you progress. So all these were solutions that the learning management systems have provided to the people, and we are able to confirm those. And now let's look at the current LMS landscape, what we have. So we've seen that the different uh, technologies out there, but certain things will come out, will cut across board. We have seen that the cloud-based solutions are very popular right now because they are actually they give you the flexibility to be able to use them. For example, you don't need to have servers and other expensive infrastructure to be able to get started if you're using a cloud-based solution. All you need to do is to pay for the licenses, and then you're good to go. So what you do is that once you have an arrangement with the technology provider, they will actually be able to just give you a licensing fee, and then they will take care of all the technical challenges. So you don't need to employ a technical person. You also don't need to have expensive infrastructure to get going, because normally it's a huge investment upfront when you want to do all those. Then we have also seen that open source LMS platforms are also on the rise, simply because they are you can actually be able to just check them and use them as they are. A little bit of customization up needed so that you're able to go. So that is also on the rise. So we have several open source platforms that are available within the space that can be used for learning purposes. Then we have also seen that mobile learning is also becoming part and parcel of learning process. So I once spoke with a group of students, and I was asking them that, okay, they had, I was asking them that which applications they use mostly in their in the course of the day. So they were talking about WhatsApp, obviously. Then there is Facebook, and then other applications differently. But the social media applications were the ones that they were using every day. Then I asked some that, okay, so how often do you use your Bible application? And they said, okay, we use it once a week. Then I asked them, so which mobile application do you have for your institution for learning purposes? And they said, no. If we have that mobile app on my hands, then it will dilute the education, the kind of learning. So that is from their perspective. So I was telling them, no, since you have the Bible, but you're not reading it even, so the kind of what you're saying is not actually making sense. But the idea was that if they have it on their palm of their hands, then they can actually be able to access it any given point. So mobile phone applications are also taking the space, whereby each and every student now want to have their notes at their fingertips, so that if they want to refer to a concept, they can actually be able to just click on it and be able to check it out, and then be able to learn. Then, of course, we know that learning management systems are just a small part of the learning process. And so integrations with different other systems, which make learning better, is also on the rise. So we have technology partners bringing up different applications or different technologies that can be integrated with the learning management system to make a one complete networked system that is actually unstoppable. Then we have personalized learning. So using the technologies, the learning frameworks, you are able to actually customize learning. And then the AI that is also being employed in the learning management system is also able to recommend courses and look at what your interests are, and then be able to show you what you need to study next. So that is also something that is very key. So what about the impacts on of this on the LMS, so the impact of the pandemic? So several things. Of course, it sparked the learning curve. So the adoption of the online education actually went to the skies because that seemed like the only choice at that particular time, because everything was locked, but we had to find a way of learning. So it actually accelerated. It was blessing in disguise, especially for the learning space. Then it also highlighted the importance of the e-learning and digital transformation. So people actually took time to look, rethink at what kind of spaces or the platforms that they were using, and they were actually able to improve. Then, of course, because not everybody has a laptop or a desktop, mobile devices became part and parcel. So everybody was looking at how to be able to access that from their mobile phones. So there was increased use also in the mobile devices. Then, because once you now have the content online and you have it on the mobile, now you want to look at ways of engaging the users. So that's also had to improve. So these questions were actually being asked to the development teams. Okay, now how do I engage my users? How do I do this? And they kept responding with different technologies, for example, AI and machine learning. So sometimes you want to use certain aspects, then the technology comes with different answers. So you ask questions, technology teams brings answers, then you look at how it fuses into the general goal the institution. Then we have personalized learning experiences that we now have right now. So different teams will have different uh, outcomes that they want, and then there will also be different skills that are needed by different people. So this kind of things are there. Then we automated also the tasks. So everybody everything had to be automated in such a way that they could work seamlessly with minimal provision. Then in terms of data, insights and analytics, the platforms had to have reporting tools that would show different trends, give different insights into the analytics that are available within the platforms, has to be used for critical decision-making purposes. Then, of course, that also led to the privacy and security of information that is within the LMS. So there are also improvements on the data privacy and security of the factors that were actually being needed. So it also improved, because everybody was looking at it. Now there were questions. Okay, so how do we ensure that this is we have a watertight security? That is also something. And of course, there was increased investment in e-learning infrastructure. So now, right now, when you go out here, e-learning is not a new phenomenon. Everybody has had or has used it in one way or the other, and now it is very easy to have discussions on learning management systems. So the trends in the LMS market right now, we have different organizations using different platforms for different reasons. It could be training if it's the corporate sector. It could be learning or educational purposes in the higher learning space. In the NGO world, we use it for capacity building purposes. So differently, the technologies can actually be used. And then for professional bodies, they're using it for both for consultancies and for selling the e-commerce bit where they are actually selling the content. So now we have like different modes of learning. It could be hybrid, it could be purely online, and it could also be blended. And then there is also now an increased focus in micro content where we have bit-sized content. So now people, because even if you look at TikTok right now, you realize that their videos, the shorter videos are doing well. So it means that people are actually moving from the long, boring content, and they want short, brief, crisp, clear communication with regards to the content. So people are now looking at this small size content. So you say it briefly, and then you have it in a platform. So that works for people more. And then we have seen that is where the trend is actually going. Then the use of games and social learning is on the increase. That is self-explanatory. Even if you take on the different analytics, different research, you'll see that gamification is a big part, especially for the kids' education. And integration with other systems, that is key, because you have to integrate it to have one big insurmountable platform that is interlinked to provide quality that you need. Then of course we have the AI chatbots for customer support and guidance. So you'll find that with the LMS, certain organizations have very many users. So now there is that increase in using chatbots. For example, if you went to any other site or even website, you'd realize that you would be talking to a chatbot. You'll ask them, okay, they will ask you, hey, George, how can I help you? You say, okay, I was looking for this. And they will tell you, okay, can I do this? Then you'll realize you're talking to a chatbot, which is actually AI powered. not a real person. But if you are looking for certain things, you will actually be able to, they will be able to help you. And then if it reaches certain points where they cannot be able to help you, they will require you to somebody who will be able to help you. And of course, there is accessibility and inclusivity for everybody in different parts is self-explanatory. More interaction with the content, that is also self-explanatory. Then, of course, you can, like you said, you can design learning paths and have competence-based learning trends. That is also there. Then increased use in analytics. That is the reports. So lots of reports, people need reports. So this data is actually used to make key decisions, be able to make the products better, and be able to focus on what the people actually want. Then, of course, we have continuous improvements in learning, which is obvious. Then machine learning and personalized learning and automation. So obviously, there is lots of focus there, especially in the learning world. Then virtual and augmented reality for immersive learning experiences. So these are the trends that we currently have. It's not only limited to this, but far much more with regards to what is trending. So the growing popularity of LMS has been accustomed by the following reasons. So we have several reasons why e-learning or the LMS has grown. Number one is it gives you the opportunity. It's flexible, so everybody can access wherever they are at any given time using any device, and then you are able to scale it up. So when you're using cloud-based solutions, it can actually be able to scale up in a matter of seconds and be able to accommodate any number of users at a twinkle of an eye. Then it's also cost effective compared to the traditional classroom learning. So the online learning is looked at as cheap because it's a borderless kind of learning. People don't have to travel. So there is lots of savings involved in terms of infrastructure that is on the institutional side. And then there's lots of saving also from the learner side. So both it's a win-win situation for everybody. Then, of course, it offers personalized learning. That one we have talked about it in the previous slides. Then it enhances compliance. So the platforms, when you can actually be able to comply with different bits and you have compliance mechanisms and you're able to have regulations, checks and balances, then and it's able to be audited, then that makes it popular because that is what everybody will be looking at. Then, of course, the big data analytics driven tracking will also make it popular because you see when you have data and this data is actually being used for different reasons to be able to look at what people like, where the trends are going. This information actually gives you an insight of what you have now, and you're also able to tell what you'll be having in the future. So that makes the LMS very popular as well. Then, of course, tracking and giving us assessments for the learners, that is also big. And then it facilitates collaboration and learning. So yes, that is self-explanatory. Then, of course, we want to now broaden your scope with LMS for untapped opportunities. So using the LMS, what can you actually do to broaden your scope? So we have several reasons. So we just run through them. So you're able to reach new learners. Obviously, there's no borders. You are able to, if you're in Nairobi and you have an LMS platform and you have some content, you can actually reach everybody as soon as you post it because it's all global and it's online. Then, of course, you can actually be able to expand your offerings. You could make, as an institution, you could make partnerships. So if I'm George, and let's say my university is University of Nairobi, and I don't offer certain courses. So with an LMS technology, we could actually get into partnerships with different organizations and be able to offer what they have online using the LMS, and be able to have certain kinds of arrangements. So we will be expanding our offerings with regards to courses that we don't have and certifications that we would not provide. Then, of course, we have increased revenue. Obviously, when you have more numbers, there is increased profitability through online learning. You could also be able to have certain custom courses that you would sell to different players in the market. Then, of course, you also have, you can enhance employee skills and productivity for business growth when you're using these technologies in the corporate space. Then, of course, customer satisfaction will also be there when you have this kinds of training, especially on customer service training. Then you are also able to stay above the rest. You're able to stay above the rest. There are companies that do not change, that they've gone out. For example, we all know the example of Nokia, where the CEO was saying that, okay, they didn't listen to the changes, the new trends that were happening, so they had to close for some time, but now we are happy they're back. There is also a company that we used to work together. They used to sell different training programs, but they did not change, they did not go online. They had to fall out. Now they're trying to come back on top. So you have to listen to the trends, and you also have to look at the future, so that if this is not going to be in the future, then you have to be dynamic to change, so that at least you have something to lean on when things don't go the way you planned. So you'll have to stay competitive and up to date. Then, of course, there is a culture of continuous learning and improvement. So right now, everybody wants to continuously learn, whether they are professionals working in different areas. So if you have certain courses, then everybody would always want to at least get part of it, whether it's free or it's paid. So with that culture, it means there is an opportunity for everybody to actually be able to tap into that. Then, of course, there is automation for efficiency. So with technologies, with learning management systems, you're actually able to automate administrative tasks to be able to track them so that each and every task is efficiently done and reported as required. And of course, you're able to change to market needs, which you have also mentioned. Then you're also able to use data for decision-making purposes. So you are able to use the technology for different parts, majorly is to grow revenue, make new partnerships with different organizations. You're able to e-commerce, you're able to enable e-commerce, and you're able to do all that. Then you're able to use the data for decision-making purposes amongst others. So that is also then now I want to take you through 3 case studies so that you're able to see. So I'll just be rushing through them. So these are our clients. So for example, we have Funza Africa. So Funza Africa is an organization that trains in different skills, and they train especially on agricultural products. So you could see we gave them a learning management system, and the industry is agriculture, and they're training students and professionals in different parts. So they are actually able to train 5,000 users as of now. So this kind of technology actually made them be able to do their trainings as and when they needed, because the interactivity and the user friendliness of the system. Then I can also show you the next one is Pharmacies and Poisons Board. So this is a drug regulatory authority in Kenya. So it's the industry is pharmacy. So the learners, those who learn are actually the pharmacists, the doctors, anybody who is registered, nurses, anybody who is registered with the Pharmacies and Poisons Board. So they have training programs within the platform, ranging from regulations, to best practices, everything that they want, they have it there, and they have more than 1,500 users doing that. And you see, these are all professionals within the platform, so it's making their work easier. So that instead of now going to the centers and doing that, they are actually able to access whatever they want. Because for them now it's kind of an in-house training where they have the content there, and anybody who wants to come in, as long as you're a member, you're able to enjoy that kind of privilege. Then I also have the Kisumu National Polytechnic. This is a national TVET institution. They obviously are in the higher education space, and the learners are majorly students, 22,000 students so far, using the platform to be able to learn different bits and different aspects of the learning process. So these three institutions can actually show you that you can actually be able to use a solution to be able to meet your goals. So I also have North Coast Medical Training College. So this is a healthcare institution. So in 2017, people told me that, George, no, you cannot use learning management systems for certain courses. George, this is medicine. You're not going to do these things online. But today, when you go to the medical training institutions, all of them have learning management systems, and they're using different technologies because that is the only way to be able to reach out to different professionals in different parts of the world and be able to get the knowledge. So they are also healthcare in the healthcare industry. They have on in-service doctors and those who are still studying in-service, and they have more than 3,000 users within the system. So their solution is actually to teach the personnel using the technology, be able to impact on the different parts of knowledge. So I want to end it there. I want to now give ourselves 15 minutes for question answer, and then we will actually be able to respond. And then after that, we can close it. So any questions to where we are? So if you also want to ask questions, we will enable, just raise your hand, then Chandra will enable, be able to speak. Okay, so I already see there is a question. Anonymous attendee. Do you have preloaded content, or does your organization not bring all the course content? So mElimu has the technology. That is our main business. But we have preloaded content as well from different partners. So we have partners who have, because we work with the organization. So if you needed content, let's say in medical field, then we would obviously talk to Pharmacy and Poisons Board, check if they can actually be able to provide that content, and then we'll be able to provide it for you through them. So yes, we have preloaded content through different partners, and we are able to provide it for you. But normally we assume that if it's a learning institution, that the content will actually be 100% US. If you need, we do provide as well. Then Elias Gakundi, are you going to share the recording? Yes, we will share the recording with you immediately after the session. Then any other question? Any question, comments? So how does gamification work? Yeah, so we have different ways in which it works. So first of all, we have like if the content, let's say you have content, so you will be using the gamification feature to be to actually be able to reach to your goal. So let's say if you want to learn about how to, let's say, do mathematics, so you'll create a game. Then using this game, you'll be actually placing it in the system. So it will be like you are playing, but you're actually in the course learning. So a simple example would be like you look at how, let's say, the kids they normally do the ABCD, but when you look at it, it's like they're playing, but they're actually learning on that. So in the LMS, we also have similar functionality that you can actually be able to use create different games, but they should actually be able to point to different uh, outcomes that you want them to have. So we can even share an in-depth way how way of how that works with you, Anonymous. So just share your email and we'll be able to share that. And I wish you address the issue of cost. So Elias Kikundi, cost is there. We give different costs for different products. So as at now, let's say if you were to take a cloud-based solution that mElimu provides, you have bundles of, let's say if you have 50 users only in 1 year, we can charge you around $1250. If you have 100 users, I think it's, I will share the cost in email. But then if you have bundles of 50, if you have bundles of 100, if you have bundles of 200 in a year, there are different costs from $25 to $16 to $10. But then if you have more than 500 users, then it's a negotiable kind of costing, where the more number of users you have, the less cost you have to pay. And then we take care of all the technology needs. And for you, you just take care of the training and everything. So there is a small setup cost around from 2,000 to 3,000 USD, depending on the level of customization that you need, that you have. But then apart from that, it's just the licensing cost, which would always move from $10 all the way to $25 a year. So in 1 year, you can even learn 10 courses, just $10. Even if it is 20 courses, still it would just be $10 within the span of a year. So cost is a little bit diverse. We can have an in-depth discussion on that depending on your needs. But in general, let's say the cost would go from $10 upwards, depending on the number of users. And then there is a small setup cost, which is actually 2,000 USD or 3,000 USD in between. And another one is that is there proof data that leads to higher level of course completion? We run on MSC with that. Yeah, so there is there is that kind of proof. Then we have Eric saying not a question, well done with the presentation, thank you. Then Elias is setting and running good LMS. So Elias, if you want cloud-based solution, you don't need to invest in all the servers and everything. All you need to pay is one-time setup cost of 2,000 USD. That is around 200,000 Kenya shillings. You are in Nairobi. Then after that, you pay for the users that you have. And if you have 500, you'll pay 500 times 10 times 1,000, so 500,000. Then if you have more, it reduces the cost. So we'll share with you, Elias, the cost that we have immediately after this session. Then let me check again if there is another question. Okay. Again, let me make sure that you're not missing. Okay, so any question, any topic that you'd want us to discuss in the next webinar? If there is anything that you'd want us to discuss in the next webinar, you can let us know so that we can plan for that and be able to share that with you. But anyways, thank you very much for attending the session. We'll share a recording of the same, and we'll also share the answers to the different questions to everybody. And then we will also share, in case you're interested, certificates of attendance, just to show that you spent your time and you came to join us for this session. So thank you very much. We'll share everything, and we'll also share more case studies with you. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day.